Bat Force Radio.
Bat Force Radio is rated M for mature, or should that be immature?
Hey guys, Dustin Witt.
Hey, this is Scott Snyder.
This is Paul Dini.
And you're listening to Bat Force Radio.
And you're listening to Bat Force Radio.
You're listening to Bat Force Radio.
This is Kevin Conroy, the voice of Batman, and you're listening to Bat Force Radio, so stay tuned.
Welcome back to Bat Force Radio, the DC Batman podcast with no limits. Happy holidays, everybody. Happy Halloween. Real quick, before we get started, we have an insane amount of episodes right now that we just blasted out in the last couple of weeks. Interviews with Kelly Jones, the 4th annual Halloween Spooktacular. 4 years in a row having him on for this holiday season. We just did one with Chris Sheehan from House of Slaughter, which is a spin-off book for Something is Killing the Children by James Tynion. We also had an interview with Cliff Chang about his Catwoman book on Black Label. Also an awesome book. If you haven't checked that out. Check out an interview. And we did a review. We did a reaction to DC Fandom, as well as a New York Comic Con recap. Tonight, because of the holiday season, we sat down. We watched both parts of the Batman Long Halloween animated parts 1 and 2. And we're not really going to do a comparison so much. We are going to obviously bring that up, but I don't think we're going to put them up against each other the entire episode. I think we're just going to kind of roll through the videos, the movies as they are. And we'll go around the round table real quick. We got the Bat Force Times, also known as Buzz Frightyear.
Hello.
Over in New York. We got Teases over in Dirty Jersey.
Believe.
We got Gramps, a.k.a. Louis Biatch, over in Texas.
Shout out to Louis.
We got Robin D. Cross up in Canada.
Why did Facebook change the name? I can't find the button.
I'm Bat Force Tom in California. And so we're going to dive right into it. The Batman Long Halloween Parts 1 and 2. Let's go. This was announced a while ago. A lot of mixed, happy and worried. Is it going to live up to the classic story of Long Halloween by Jeph Loeb and Tim Sale? Got to say, the artwork for Tim Sale is so crisp and beautiful that I think a lot of people were more concerned about that. But yeah, let's go into our thoughts. Let's start with, I think we're going to break it up. Let's break it up into, we'll review kind of our thoughts on the animation. We'll review our thoughts on the story. And within that, we'll talk about differences we noticed from the comic. And then we'll also talk about the performances of the individual actors, the voice actors. And then I know that the animated stuff is cool because it adds an extra element of music. So maybe we'll touch on that at the end. So starting off with animation, what do you guys think? Completely different direction than the comic, obviously. And it seemed that they're kind of trying to coincide a little bit more with their previous animated adaptations. What did you guys think of the animation?
Yeah, it was somewhere between the house animation style they've been using in recent years just across the board. And I get why they did that, to give everything a continuity, make them all feel like they're a part of the same universe. But for things like this, especially something with art as iconic as Tim Sale's, they had to change something, and I'm really glad they did. And they sort of eased you into the change, because the intro to the movie, before we see a single frame of animation, it's all still frames of Tim's art from Long Halloween. So we're seeing that through the opening credits. And then we come into an animation that's similar, as far as they could go without making it actually Tim's.
Right. One thing I noticed, I love the intro, and I just want to start with the intro because, like you said, it it shows Tim Sale's art, but it has like this white line that goes and like this. It almost seems like, you know, those detective boards where they link all the clues together with strings and stuff. That's what visually I thought it was making. So I like that little tidbit. I loved the background scenery that they did more so than the character animation. And at the end credits, you know, I was watching who all did a lot of the animation. And I mean, it's a huge team of people, but I noticed that it said background painters. So the backgrounds seem to be all painted, kind of like, you know, the Batman animated series.
Yeah.
There's a good point to bring up the background specifically, Gramps. I think that you could definitely tell they put a lot of time and effort into making it look as cinematic as possible. You could tell they weren't married to Tim Sale's art, therefore they decided to go with kind of like, okay, well, we can't make it look like his comic art, so let's make it look like as close as we can to like an animated film or a movie. And I did think that was a pretty cool what they did, like the chase scene where Batman is chasing down is it Falcone? Oh no, he's one of the dudes, one of the assassins. That whole sequence, you could tell like they really took their time and they made it look, you know, very cinematic. So yeah, kudos to them for that. Anybody else on animation thoughts?
I'm on board with everyone else. I think the homages to Tim's art really just set the tone, and along, like, you see these slow moving panning photos, and you start getting locked into like the score, and you feel really excited that something special is about to happen. And I think it was a good way of like really starting the story and giving him that credit, because at the end of the day, they have to generalize the art style because it's just so specific. The hand is so, and style is so specific to what we know. But in order to introduce that to new fans, I think that would take away from the actual story. So
shit. You know,
it made sense to me. As much as I wanted it to be more stylized, I
Yeah.
also appreciate that it was kind of in that continuity of the other cartoons, movies as well.
he's kind of right, because here's why I was thinking. The Jeph Loeb Tim Sale stuff's like my favorite stuff ever. And the thing is, I thought about this for a while, and I think if they did adapt Tim Sale's style in animation, I don't think it would really work. I think it would be too Looney Tunes, because it's just too stylized. It's too elongated and exaggerated. It might look just too weird if they did it, because on paper it's gorgeous. It's artwork. It's fine art, But to animate those exaggerated features on the characters, that might be a little weird. I think if you look close enough at the style guides and the characters in the movie, you see Tim Sale there. You see the piano teeth to an extent with the Joker there. You see, his influence in Ivy and everyone. He's there, and I think, it would just be all over the place if they really went too far. I know that was the biggest gripe amongst certain people, but once you get past that, the animation cells, the backgrounds. I was very happy with the backgrounds, because one of my gripes with animation, some DC animation or an animation in general, sometimes is lazy ass backgrounds. And you see a lot of detail and mood in this one. I think the team that worked on this, they understand how beloved this story is. So I think a lot of people took it very serious, and I think they found that balance, because if you look close enough, there is some Tim Sale there, but it's I think they did find a decent balance for it. Yeah. It'd be cool to get some figures out of it, actually.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Falcone's penthouse and building, man, that made me feel like I was literally in what made me remember that I was like when I visited the Empire State Building, and I was like, man, they really brought that to life in a way. And then Wayne Manor, how vast and huge it was. I mean, you never really kind of get that sense of how big it is in the books, but then when you see it in this animated, and they show those big shots of like the main entryway and how small he is compared to, like, it looks like the main room is 3 stories tall. It's huge. And then you have, especially when ivy comes in and it's all covered in the ivy. I really love that.
Yeah, good point on the Wayne Manor. Something that I kind of was noticing, and I don't think they do enough of, is that really makes you look and see how rich Bruce Wayne is. At one point, he comes down and he asks Alfred, "Where, any coffee?" And Alfred says, "It's in the study." And so he goes into a completely different room just to be served his coffee. And then you go into the study and you see it's completely lined, wall to wall books. And I remember thinking, God damn, that is a great fucking looking study.
That's a lot of dusting for Alfred, poor guy.
I would love to have that study like that. Yeah, and I think Buzz Frightyear is right on the money with. I don't think you should even ever attempt to adapt Tim Sale's art. It's just you can't compare. It's phenomenal. And as I'm flipping through the Absolute Edition of it, one thing that I'm glad that I didn't do was read this before watching the film, because you forget how the splash pages that they do in this story are so epic and insane, and each page is like a print. And it's just, you can't touch that kind of stuff, like it's so stylized, it's so specific, the way they use shadow. So you kind of had to go the route that they went with, trying to make it a more easily digestible mass audience kind of look. And it did seem that it fits better with some of the other animated films that they've done, because they are, like what Robin was saying, in that style. So yeah, I don't think any of us hated the animation. It sounds like, I think we all kind of accepted it for what it was. It sounds like
they did. They made it. They watered it down with like Telltale series style.
Yeah, like the easily. I don't want to. Not in an insulting way, but easily eaten up by the mat. You know what I mean? Like, it's not McDonald's in a bad way, but it's like people are going to be able to. Anyone can come in and enjoy it. So. Okay, let's go on to. So I would say, like, what would you guys say as far as let's each give an individual rating for animation across the board. Louis Bitch, how about yourself?
Well, this is a 2-part question, because you've got the character designs versus the backgrounds. I give the backgrounds 10 out of 10 Louis turds. For the character designs, I give about a 7.5.
7.5 steaming Louis turds.
Yeah, steamers. Yeah.
All right, little Louis steamers. Teases. What would you say that the animation for you out of 10?
Overall, I'm probably going 8.
Right.
Like Graham said, like the backgrounds were perfect. Definitely felt like the animated series, but it did lean towards being generic. Like you think of Long Halloween and that artwork, you want to see these heavily inked looking lines, but it was more about the storyline. It was more about updating this classic story for everyone to kind of digest. So overall, I thought 8. To me, overall, like, I watched them back to back this week. It was a lot to take in, but it was consistent.
All right, Robin.
I'll just group them together and say like an 8 or 9 for the two there. I think this is a big step up for me, preference-wise, to what we were getting in the previous animated movies. And I noticed, I won't say it's the same, but I noticed a similarity, particularly when we see like the Gotham skyline in this. It looks kind of similar to what we've seen for the upcoming animated series that they're doing. So I wonder if between that new series and something like Long Halloween calling for a different animation style, I wonder if they're just sort of revamping what the house animation style is now, and maybe we'll see something more like this. But I did like how this was a lot more shaded. You had a lot more shadows, and there's a lot more depth than what we've seen in the recent I can't remember some of the other ones. I've missed so many of the recent ones, and I think like the Hush and everything. But yes, like some of the things, they made so many changes that I just didn't set aside any time to get to them.
Okay. Buzz Frightyear, what say you on your rating scale for the animation?
You know what? Now that I think about it, I'll give it an 8.5 because. Wait, well, you know what? Well, here's the thing. Like, let me. I'll backtrack. Like, you know when they. Well, it has more to do with story, but it's like sometimes you want a remix of something. You don't want something cloned. Like when they changed the animated movie, the Hush story, and they changed the story a little. I kind of like that because it was like we already know the story. Give us something a little different for fun. So with this, it's a little more chic. Why I went with 8.5 is because I'm thinking about the scenes where the animation, like when he's in Gordon's office, and it's a lit, that low light, that warm light, and that mood. That's what I like. Gotham detective noir. Just and even when they're in Arkham, the mood, this whole animation. You think about Catwoman's suit, and I was like, if they would have adapted the big-eared purple suit to animation, that would not have worked. So you got to really think about everything they did for this and how it kind of makes sense. So, and it looks, it's just really nice to look at. Did anybody get the Steelbooks?
Wait, what was the question?
Did anybody get the Steelbooks?
Oh, like the
No.
Because
I've just watched the digital edition so far
with the connecting cover.
Yeah, because the artwork on the Steelbooks, being that we're talking about animation art, the artwork on the Steelbooks is really nice as well. Really detailed and sweet. So,
but also very different from the animation style in the movie.
Yeah, so it's kind of like
that's how they get you.
They're like, it's like, hey, we had to make that, we had to fit the animation this way, but don't worry, we're very well aware of where it comes from. So
yeah.
Shout out to a collected copy.
Yeah,
like they did with Dark Knight. With Dark Knight Returns, they put out volume 1, and everyone grabbed that. Then they put out 2, everyone grabbed that, and then a couple months later, oh, here it is all together.
Yeah,
remember
as one
that
movie.
really shitty figure that came with the Dark Knight Returns?
What?
Wasn't it like a
the
gumball style
little
figure?
Joker?
This guy?
Yeah, and the Joker
Is
came
that the
with,
one that came with it?
part 2.
Yeah, you know how much this is worth?
Yeah, he goes for a lot.
A lot of money.
He does go for a lot. That's Louis though.
Well, that's what Hill and Harrison.
I remember Gramps years ago posting. Was it a video with him on the turntable?
Yeah, that's.
Oh yeah.
that or the Dustin Nguyen fat little Gotham one.
Yeah, I love that one too. He's so chunky.
Shout out to Scott McGrath who did the layouts and put the art together. He didn't do the art, but he did the layouts and he put the artwork together for those Steelbooks of Maggot Stomp, Death Metal. If anybody wants to get their fix of Death Metal, check out Maggot Stomp. Anyways, okay, so wow, I mean, I'm pretty impressed with everyone seems to give it a pretty decent high ranking for animation. We are being very fair, very balanced this evening. Fox News-esque, I would say. Moving on to story. I think this is where we can really sink our teeth in the nitty-gritty. They had a few changes with the story. There were some very big changes and there were some minor changes. But like Buzz Frightyear said, I personally was hoping that they would have changes because, why give us the same thing? Change it up a bit, make it your own. So as far as story goes, how did you guys feel? How was the pacing? Did you enjoy the changes? I think a big one for me that I noticed like right off the bat is the Batman-Catwoman relationship in this one. Seemed like they had already established a positive relationship and they were working together more so than in the first one where it's more cat and mouse. This one, they're like, it's like they're together, and they're a team almost. So that was a big one that I noticed. What did you guys think of story overall?
We know going into something like this that there are going to be necessary changes made. You can't have everything the way it is in a 13-issue comic and fit all of that into, even 2 movies. So a lot of stuff has to be changed just for the sake of length. But yeah, so as long as you go in knowing that there are going to be some changes and everything's not going to be a carbon copy, some of the changes were smart and were a plus.
Teasy Believey, any what do you think of the story?
I was trying to think of like if this was my first time being exposed to this story. I felt like just the nature of it, there's so many moving parts, but they made it look really seamless compared to the comic. And I kept thinking to myself, man, does this thing need to be 2 parts? It was a lot to take in, but I think it was really smooth. And I love the fact that, Bruce realizes this is one of the times where he realizes, man, I am a detective and I have to be a detective. And this is a real crime element story. And I like that whole, it had a sense of Godfather a little bit with Falcone. And that just made it interesting because it's not what we're used to all the time with Batman.
Yeah. There's in the comic there's some very direct nods to the Godfather films, scenes and things, but they did play up the whole. I felt like they played up the whole, wise guy mafia.
There's a scene where we see Carmine at the table with some of his guys, and as it cuts in on the scene, you hear him say, "I made him an offer."
Oh yeah. And then I forget who they're referring to, but they're like, make him sleep with. Did they say literally sleep with the fishes?
Yes,
they did say that. Okay, so yeah, so just like they're playing up the mafia part hardcore in this. Yeah, that is in the comic, but I feel like they really wanted to highlight that in the story here. Something that you mentioned, TZ, is the fact that Batman says, or Bruce says out loud, I wasn't expecting to have to be a detective, not only a detective, but a good detective.
Right.
So he's realizing it's still early on as Batman for him.
So is it supposed to be like kind of your 2-esque?
Yeah, within the first 2 years, I think, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of has his shit together at this point, even though like he's not physically fit 100%, like when he's trying to keep up with Catwoman, but he pretty much knows what he's doing at this point.
Yeah, Long Halloween is year 2. Dark Victory is year 3.
Okay.
There's a part in this where Gordon kind of lays it down for him. When they have the suspect in Gordon's office, and Batman, kind of goes too far with the interrogation, and Gordon releases him, and he tells him, something along the lines of, "You've got a lot to learn about being a detective," and Gordon says, it's a lot more than finding the suspect. You have to know what we can get out of him. He's a small fish, and we have to know what we can get out of him.
It's interesting to see that where Batman is learning from Gordon as they go. That was tip of the hat to the writers on that one.
Yeah, because even in the comic, I felt like he has less control than what it was in the cartoon. Like in the comic, he's not afraid to kind of stomp some people out before interrogating them, because he knows like he wants to use brute force to kind of intimidate these guys.
Bruce Force.
Bruce Force, yes.
Louis bitch. Your thoughts on story?
Sucked. No, I'm kidding.
Moving on. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I mean the adaptation for a movie animated feature, it made sense. They stayed true to the theme and the concepts, but just like most adaptations, they've got to kind of compartmentalize or make changes to make it flow. And also, some of that was required, for just character development, really. Show parts of Bruce's personality and Gordon's persona, and even Carmine Falcone, just to give them a little bit more depth that you don't have in the comic. So I thought that was really good. I didn't really have any gripes. Yes, there were some differences, but overall, it's kind of like when you read the book, and then you watch the movie. Yes, there's some differences, but that's necessary when you're going from just a visual on paper versus seeing it moving and talking. So I didn't have any problems with it.
They definitely played into the relationships. I mean, they had more time, I feel like, to flesh out relationships with Harvey and his wife.
Gilda especially. You saw a lot more depth from her. I thought it was kind of cool. It shows later in the movie, and I'm going off memory because I haven't read the book in probably a couple of years, but it all makes sense at the end because there's a time that is it Falcone, I think, meets up with Harvey and Gilda at like the boardwalk. Yeah. And he knows her. I mean, he's like saying, "Hello, Dent." Yeah, I'm talking to her. And like he instantly recognizes her because it shows out later in the movie that, I guess we're giving spoilers, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think they should know that. Yeah.
She was at one time married to his son. So he already knew who she was. And I thought that was really kind of a smart plot point to show that, no, he's recognizing her more than Harvey, but everyone is putting their focus on Harvey throughout the entire movie.
Yeah.
When they really should be looking at her.
Yeah, and that really adds to Alberto's motives for being the killer.
Yeah.
For this revenge against his father?
I couldn't remember in the comic. Is the relationship between Alberto and Gilda in the comic as well?
No,
I don't think so.
That's new, right?
No, that's new. Yeah.
Thought it was that was Pinteresting because that added the element of all of this, like the district attorney Harvey Dent, Gotham's shining armor, being embroiled with a woman who was like in the depths of a crime family. So that was interesting that they did that with his story. Again, like I was expecting something different like that.
And am I remembering it wrong though? Right from the first scene where we see Alberto with his whole crew there, and he kind of sends Alberto out of the room. I don't remember him being such a dick to Alberto in the comics.
He wasn't a dick. He was just dismissive. Like he was just like, oh, he was like a loving dismissive.
Yeah, but like in this, he said, go do your crossword somewhere else, and he referred to him being, 30 going on 13 or whatever he said. And
I didn't
had the
get
whole
that
room
sense.
laughing at him.
No, I don't remember that at all.
That also came from his insecurity because the second he brings one of his kids in and they take a leadership role, he feels like he takes a step off the mantle.
Yeah.
And he's done, but he doesn't want to give that perception of weakness. So that's why he's.
Yeah, that's the thing that we hear a lot about. He has that convo right near the end about how maybe I'm too old for this. Yeah.
Yeah, he's starting to realize that.
Not to lean too heavy into the Godfather influences and references, but they are very much there. I just kind of made the connection with is it Alfredo? Alberto?
Alberto.
Fredo.
Alberto with Alberto Alfredo's pizza.
Fredo, what are you doing?
Fucking
Alfredo. No,
fucking
That's not Fredo.
Olive Garden over here. and shit.
That's what I meant. Like, I feel like at first I thought because he's the good son, he's not involved in the family and the crime. That's like Michael Corleone. Michael Corleone's the straight one. But then as I realized, maybe Dad sees him like Fredo. Like he's weak, he's young, he's small, he doesn't have it in him, and so we can't pass it on to him, just like Fredo. But
I feel like it's kind of a mashup because
maybe
he has that I don't know if it's Ivy League school, but he has this super intelligence, and his father's more street smarts, but his father just wants to keep him at bay.
Yeah,
he doesn't end up like him. But
shout out, also not to go back on the animation, but I'll mix it up with the animation and the story. Shout out to Sophia in this. What a woman, sturdy gal, and that is my type of woman. I kept thinking to myself, if I was in this story, I would be going after Sophia. And say what you will of me, but that's just my pick. Buzz Lightyear, your thoughts on the story?
I can't even remember the big changes they made, to be honest with you. Why?
Catwoman.
If we want to go through any of them, I do have some of them listed here.
But I think that kind of says it all, because if I can't remember any of the major changes, I don't feel like there was any. They didn't really change it to the point where it was that different. Not like Hush, it was pretty on par. And the Two-Face origin felt a little more drawn out. But I tell you one thing, the way they split the discs up, part one, the first half was pacing, everything, fucking amazing fight scenes. The shit was fantastic.
Oh, that Chinatown fight scene, dude.
Yeah, that was nutty, man. And part
awesome.
two, his second half was more a slow burn, but it had a good payoff though. So
Sirens going off in Gotham right now.
Yeah, it's Gotham City, New York City. Yeah, slow burn, but it had a payoff. So the fact that I can't even recall any major changes makes me feel like they didn't even do much. They didn't change that much where it really ripples in my mind. So I didn't have any problems with that at all.
Yeah, they just turned the dial.
Yeah. Spoiler alert, Gilda was still the killer. I thought they were going to change that.
Yeah, same.
And that was nice because I kind of like that. And for anyone who doesn't know, the reason Jeph Loeb had Gilda be the killer in the end, because he was absolutely paranoid of people figuring out the killer was before the 12 or 13 issues ended. So he stuck with one killer, but on top of that, Gilda as the one behind it all. So because he was just paranoid of people figuring it out. So I thought they were going to change that. I really thought they were going to change that, but it's kind of cool that they didn't. Yeah.
I thought they were going to make it Sophia.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. It was a perfect setup, because they played up Falcone being a jerk to her as well, and being dismissive because she wants to help. She wants to be, let me in the meeting, Pop. Nah,
Yeah.
Robin, what are some of the bigger changes that you noticed?
Well, there are some big ones and some little ones. Like one of the first ones that I noticed was that Barbara was older. And they included, because she was older, they could have James Jr. there. So I wonder if there's any reason for that. If maybe they're going to start doing something with James in animation. Maybe we'll get like a Black Mirror.
Like you said, they made Barbara the older sibling.
Yeah,
I noticed that too.
She was. I feel like she was considerably younger. Like, wasn't she a baby or something in the comic?
I remember a toddler. Yeah, like not of age to go trick or treating like in this one.
Yeah,
I remember that scene where Gordon's taking out the trash and Batman's there, and then I think they used that in Batman Begins as well.
Yeah, because the rubber bottle, the nipple.
Yeah.
So someone's being bottle fed.
Yeah.
Interesting.
They sort of changed the relationship Batman has with Grundy too, because when he chased the guy down into the sewer, he didn't fight Grundy. When he got down there, he just said, "Hey, let me take him, and I'll make sure he doesn't come back."
Right.
And Grundy just walked away.
Yeah.
And then what does that motherfucker do? He turns on him.
Yeah, he fucking becomes.
He even
Two Faces.
gave you some Thanksgiving food, and you turned on him.
Yo, I actually like how. All right, so in the comic book, he says born on the Monday, but in the animated movie when he says it, like in the it's like echoing in the distance, like born on a Monday. I'm like, man, that really nails the tone and vibe and mood that I always wanted from the Long Halloween. Like born on a Monday. It's just that was pretty cool.
Sorry.
And next thing, Harvey got his coin from Batman.
Oh,
and
you're
Batman
right.
got the coin from Carmine Falcone.
The turntables.
When Thomas was helping save Carmine years ago.
I like that. I liked how at the end too, Bruce throws it in their face when he's like, "My father was taking the bullets out of what's his name's chest, and then 2 years later he was dead. My connection ends there."
Oh, I also think about I think I was keeping count of how many fucking times Catwoman saves Batman in this story. It's a bit much, because I think she saves him from she helps him with the Chinatown fight, and then with Poison Ivy, and then another time
Sophia.
Yeah, so
they really used her a lot in this version.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rest in peace to that girl who voiced Catwoman.
Oh man, what was her name? Yeah,
she did a really
Naya
good
Rivera.
job.
Wow, Naya Rivera,
Right.
and nuts that she finished the whole thing. That was the last thing she ever did.
She sounded good, man. She sounded like a good
sad.
Catwoman.
Well, that's a good transition then. Transitioning to the performances, because there was a couple of changes with the voice cast. I know that in the animated universe, where they've been doing that kind of, they were calling it the animated universe, where they were consistently using Troy Baker as Joker. I can't remember who Batman was, or maybe it was Troy Baker who was Batman a couple
Jensen Ackles.
Well, Jensen Ackles.
I think this was his first time as Batman. I think he did Red Hood before.
Yeah.
He graduated.
He graduated up. Yeah.
Dude.
Here's a really cool tidbit, or whatever you want to call it. So, when they're in Arkham, I forgot how the dialogue goes, but Jensen Ackles voices Batman, so he tells Gordon something to the extent like, "I've been hunting. I was hunting," and he says that because Jensen Ackles, played Dean in Supernatural, and they were monster hunters. And so they would always say things like, "Oh, we're hunting. We're going hunting. We're hunters." So
clever.
That was fun.
Clever girl. So just to go through some of the voice cast real quick, Jensen Ackles, of course, is Batman. In this, he upgraded from Jason Todd. Naya Rivera, may she rest in peace, she did a great job as Catwoman. She sounded great.
Mm-hmm.
Billy Burke was Commissioner Gordon. Alastair Duncan was Alfred Pennyworth. We heard Troy Baker again as Joker. He's been Joker many times. And Josh Duhamel, I did not know this. Josh Duhamel was Harvey Dent. So Josh Duhamel's in a bunch of things. He was in the first couple of Transformer movies where he's like the Marine. And Calendar Man was voiced by David Dashmalchian, who is Polka Dot Man from the Suicide Squad. He's also in The Dark Knight.
Yeah, Joker.
Yeah.
And the dude is everywhere right now. He's in Doom.
He was
now.
in Ant-Man.
Yeah. So this dude's killing it.
That guy's getting bags, man.
Yeah. So and he did a great creepy Calendar Man, I thought. All right. So what did you guys think of Jensen Ackles as the titular character Batman?
I like him. I really did.
I like it.
I like it. I kind of like it. There was that one scene where Scarecrow escapes and poisons Batman with his fear toxin, and Batman makes his way into Gotham City. I love that scene where, in his mind, I thought it was a cool way how they brought back in, the Thomas and Martha death scene, but through Batman's eyes as he's under the fear toxin. And then Catwoman bails him out again and takes him back to Wayne Manor. And that scene where Bruce is laying on the steps and Alfred comes out and he's like, my mother. He said, is she here, my mother? I probably watched that scene 10 times, just going back and forth, because I thought I don't know. For me, it just hit home.
Oh, man.
His whole purpose of why he's Batman.
Yeah.
I thought Jensen Ackles just nailed it out of the park with just that one scene.
Anybody else? Anybody not like his performance as Batman?
I don't have any specific issue with him, but it always takes me a second to not be hearing Kevin Conroy in something.
Yeah. Yeah, it felt like at times he was doing a Kevin Conroy impression.
Yeah. And it's got to be hard not to do that.
Especially when Troy Baker is basically doing Mark Hamill.
He really was.
Yeah, he was.
And I think there's a reason for that, because Troy Baker's first appearance as Joker was in Arkham Origins.
Yeah.
So I think there had to be some continuity there with how Joker sounded, so he didn't just reinvent him, because this was supposed to be just a couple years before Arkham Asylum.
Yeah.
I mean, he does a great job spitting image of not image, but very good comparison with Mark Hamill.
Yeah.
I'd like to hear them have a Joker off.
I was pleasantly surprised. I thought Harvey Dent, Two-Face. I was like, man, this guy's doing a good job. I wonder who it is. And then it was Josh Duhamel. I'm like, oh my god, that's interesting.
Mr. Fergie.
Yeah, I was gonna say Fergie's ex-husband. I guess it makes sense. The guy's an actual actor. So, but I'm sure he's done a lot more voiceover work. Let me check on his IMDb real quick. I thought he did a pretty good job as Harvey Dent. I was surprised at how much I enjoyed that.
And having Troy as Joker, I'm never gonna bash having Troy in anything. He's Joel in The Last of Us, so I will say no wrong of him. One person we didn't talk about, I want to mention this. Carmine Falcone is Titus Welliver.
Oh yeah,
he is Jimmy in Sons of Anarchy.
He was also the Man in Black from Lost. That dude's been in tons of stuff. Also another very well known, and he's also I think he collects Hot Toys.
Oh yeah,
or sideshow pieces in general, sideshow pieces. So he's like a collector. So let's see.
The guy who did Alberto Falcone is Huey from The Boys.
Oh no way!
So there's a bunch of people in this.
Yeah, there is a lot of. I mean, I think the animated voice casting usually they use a lot of people that have probably worked with either the casting director or done voiceover work, or they like to work with people they know. So, but yeah, I thought the voice cast overall was pretty good. Like I said, for me, Harvey Dent was a standout. Falcone, I felt like you said that Falcone was, what's his name, Titus, right?
Yeah.
So, okay. So, what would we say as far as the performances on a 0 to 10, Louis?
He's right behind me, smoking me out.
No.
That's that brisket.
He's getting over here dropping the hot boxes. No, I thought the voice casting was really good. Like I said, I liked Jensen Ackles as Batman Bruce. I thought his Bruce was better than Batman, but and I liked, rest in peace, Naya Rivera. I thought she was good as Catwoman. I really loved what's his name, Alistair Duncan as Alfred. The subtle, dry wit he brought to Alfred was right on point. I love that. I love feeling like I was, in Gotham, New York, with the Carmine Falcone and his group, especially like, all his little minions that were at the table and stuff like that. That made me think of, like you said, Godfather. Gosh dang it, Sopranos. All those Goodfellas, all those classic gangster movies. Troy Baker, he was really good. He had me fooled for a while. I thought, wow, Mark Hamill's killing it. And then I looked this up and I was like, oh no, this is Troy Baker. Oh, thought he did a really good job. So, and like you said, what's his name?
Josh Duhamel.
Duhamel.
Josh Duhamel.
Duhamel. Harvey Dent, that's the easy role. Two-Face, that's the one where you want the real grit. So.
Oh, just like a Big Bad Harv in the animated series. Whoever voiced Two-Face in the animated series is a god, because that voice is so sinister.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. And Duhamel, Duhamel did a pretty good job kind of going that route.
Yeah.
I wonder, to get that, rage to be Two-Faced. I imagine they probably did it first thing in the morning with no coffee. Just come in and do it. You're already pissed off, and here's your lines.
Probably just look at the pictures of Fergie cheating on him or something.
Man, they set the bar with the animated series, because look at Mark Hamill as the Joker, the guy, rest in peace, who played Mr. Freeze, Two-Face. Those voices are insane. Like the voice casting for the original animated series was just, that was, even Arlene Sorkin.
Who was Ivy
in this one or the animated?
This one.
Let me look it up real quick. While I do that, TZ, your thoughts on the voice acting?
I'm on board with everyone else. Like, again, I just I binged it this week, and I thought it was Mark Hamill until a couple hours ago. I didn't even look into the whole cast name, but it felt like a carbon copy, but not a cheap version. Like it was done well, and again, the comparison is so close to the animated series, it felt so familiar, so it really helped the animation. So yeah, I give it a solid 8. It's not quite original, but they kept it really authentic, consistent.
Katie Sackhoff, to answer your questions, Grumps, was the voice of what's her name? She's a voice actress, so she's a voice actress known for Bo-Katan from was she the live action?
She was live action Bo-Katan, yeah.
Oh shit. Oh, but it says also voicing Bo-Katan? But she was so she's live action.
Maybe she voiced her in the animated too.
That's cool. So yeah, so she's the Bo-Katan in The Mandalorian.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I also like that last, when Harvey started hearing the dual voices.
Oh shit!
I felt like that was a cool transition into him kind of turning into Two-Face. When he starts kind of questioning things, and he has these underlying comments that he's thinking, but he's not projecting them.
Yeah. Buzz Frightyear, your thoughts on the overall voice acting?
Yeah, it was fine. It was fine. I had no complaints. Standout for me was the guy who played Calendar Man, especially in that Arkham scene, the dialogue with Batman, and he's saying things like, or is it a her or the killer? And the pauses between them speaking, it just had this horror detective element to it. And that guy's voice was just unnerving and soothing at the same time for Calendar Man. So it was really that really stuck out for me. That was good. That was really good. So.
Yeah, very eerie and kind of
Yeah, I liked how he went, a little bit effeminate.
Yeah.
And yeah.
He's like, oh, I've missed you.
It's really insane to kind of see where that guy's career has taken him. Like, dude, he's in Dune and also in a very creepy, what do you call it? Role. And I mean, like, yeah, it's been crazy to see that guy in the last 5 years just blow up.
Yeah, man.
All right. So okay. Look, I thought, I feel like as we were going over everything, pretty fair and balanced. Oh, one thing we didn't cover is, and maybe it's not much to cover, but I put in there a little spot for the music. What did you guys think of did you hear the music? Did it change anything for you? Did it add anything? Did it subtract? Did it distract?
I love the score.
Oh shit.
Yeah. There's certain things about the animation, like the animated stuff is cool because you get that extra element of music sometimes, and like Dark Knight Returns, it's just amazing. Like you can listen to the soundtrack over and over again. There's a couple other ones that it's always cool to hear like an extra added element. TZ, what do you think of the music? Did you even notice it?
More so in the beginning because I was really focusing on Tim Sale's art, but it was fine. It didn't jump out at me.
You're wrong.
To be honest, I mean, you have a musical ear, but I wasn't looking for that. I was looking for I was focusing more on the storyline. But in the beginning, I really liked the tempo of it.
Oh shit! Yeah.
Yes, I am wrong.
I was hoping that there would have been more like a more epic sounding soundtrack. I think I was hoping for something like Dark Knight Returns, which adds so much to that film. But I don't think it distracted in any way. So it was all right. Yeah. Buzz Fryer, anything to say about the music?
Wrong.
Yeah, I like the whatever was playing when the first chase scene happened on the bridge. They really got the biscuits burning, So.
Is that a good thing, burning the biscuits? Just so we know where he stands.
Depends on who you talk to, I guess.
Yeah, the briskets. The music was fine. Yeah.
Robin?
I have to say, unfortunately, I didn't pay much note to the music. I'll have to do a second viewing and.
So it bored you to tears, is what you're saying.
I think that was the exact quote I used.
Okay. Completely ruined the experience for you. All right. Okay.
Affirmative.
Let's before we shit all over it, let me check real quick who did the music. Because usually it's like they have like 3 people. It's like one of 3 people that usually do the music on these things. And I don't know where it is. I can't see it. Let's see if we find it on the IMDb page here. But
Michael Gatt.
Yeah, I don't recognize that name at all. Well, okay. Anyways, all right. That's that's a nice little wrapped up bow. That's like 50 minutes. Boom. Shazam.
How about favorite parts?
Okay, let's do that. All right, everybody give your favorite. What was your favorite scene or moment? Louis.
I loved the Chinatown fight scene.
Yeah.
I loved the Scarecrow escape scene.
Yes, that's good.
Oh my gosh, that was so cool.
Yeah, that was cool.
I loved Ivy and Bruce, Wayne Manor. I mean, just the way that she just took over everything, and Bruce planted some seeds.
Hell yeah, boy.
Yeah, and like I said, I loved that emotional scene where Bruce was at Wayne Manor and Alfred came out, and after Catwoman had brought him home. I don't know.
That's another
Gramps liked a lot.
Yeah, I did like it.
Nice, Gramps. What did Louis like it?
He did. He watched the whole time with me.
Holy shit! Whoa.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Personally, I think my favorite part is I don't know, man. I really like that study in Wayne Manor. I liked Wayne Manor, the way they made Wayne Manor look. I enjoyed Alfred's performance, and again, I was very impressed by Harvey Dent's performance, the voice acting. So I'll say Josh Duhamel, who I don't really ever think about. He impressed me.
Oh shit.
Hamel.
Josh Duhamel. Robin, your favorite part?
Okay, I'm going to give an honorable mention. One, both of mine are really just little changes in how they affected things. One is very minor, but that we saw that Alfred was also mind controlled by Ivy, because that sort of explains away why he didn't interfere in any of Bruce's behavior in the time he was being mind controlled.
Yeah.
Though we didn't see what happened to Alfred after the mind control was broken on Bruce. But minor thing. But my other favorite thing was just that the added history of Gilda and Alberto beefed up the reasoning for there being two holiday killers, for it being Alberto having faked his own death and then killed the people who would have been able to prove that, like the coroner and was it his aunt, I think, that figured out the autopsy was fake. And then we had Gilda confessing to Batman, but then we also know in this version that there's the history between Gilda and Alberto, and that just makes it make a lot more sense that those are the two who were doing this.
That Batman gave her pass. You know how many passes Batman gave her? She done fucking murked mad people, bro.
That's what.
Yeah, he really let her go.
He just gave her the passes.
Yeah,
that's added some weight to Alberto's death too, because you have to assume that it was Gilda that shot and killed him. And as she explained at the very end, the pain and the torture that she was put through by the Falcone family, that was when they aborted her child. I'm sure she had she did have some rage pointed towards Alberto.
What was it that they took care of the child, or was it that they gave it away? Because I don't know if I.
No, they made it. They basically aborted it, and that's why she couldn't have a children. She couldn't have a child with.
Oh, all right. I get you now. All right, I missed that part. I thought it was very interesting the way they made Gilda. It made me It made me feel like a lot of it was put on her, which was an interesting choice. A bit sexist, if you ask me, because it made me scared of her as a trifling heifer, and I don't like feeling that way. And I felt that I was made to feel that way. I am not taking accountability for my emotions. I am externalizing them onto the writers of the story. So I will have my word with them on the internet. Buzz Frightyear, your thoughts on what was your favorite part?
There's so many, man. I love the Arkham scene when they're talking with Calendar Man. I love the Joker pilot scene. I love the Scarecrow and Mad Hatter scene. I like it because we don't get enough Mad Hatter in anything anymore. When you guys remember when they were doing Villain Month and they had all the one shots of all the villains, you ever notice we never got a Mad Hatter issue?
Damn.
And it's good to see him in something. So him and Scarecrow kept true to the story. But really, I love anything that has to do with Batman and Jim Gordon in Gordon's office late at night with a low lit lamp on the desk, files, paperwork everywhere. That'll always get me. That's always the best Batman storytelling.
Neglecting their families. That's the best kind of Gordon.
Damn. There you go.
All right. All right. There you have it. There's your Batman Long Halloween parts 1 and 2. Nice gift wrapped for the holiday season for you. Like we said, before we end, please check out the recent episodes that we've done. DC Fandom reaction. We got Cliff Chang with his Catwoman book. We got Chris Sheehan with his House of God. What's it called, Robin?
House of Slaughter.
God damn it, Tom.
And the Autumnal.
And then we also have the 4th annual Spooktacular with Kelly Jones, and that was a great one. He went into much detail about his relationship with Bernie Wrightson, so that was a treat to listen to.
And if anyone likes the Long Halloween movie and or comic book series, and you haven't read Jeph Loeb and Tim Sale's Haunted Night trilogy or Dark Victory. Those highly recommended. I really hope they do those in animation as well.
And Catwoman When in Rome.
Catwoman When in Rome. So you see that.
And this week there's the Long Halloween special one-shot issue.
Yes,
it's Jeph Loeb and Tim Sale, and ties right into the universe.
There you go.
And all of which are directly influenced by Zack Snyder's Batman. So if you enjoy any of that, 100% directly inspired by Zaddy himself. So definitely check out Zack Snyder's vision, BVS, Man of Steel, Zack Snyder's Justice League. And all right, guys, have a safe Halloween. If you're going out trick-or-treating, give out some full size. Don't be cheap.
Yeah, don't be cheap.
Bat Force Radio.